repeating texture instead of a repeating pattern. So you start with something like this, or really whatever texture you want. And I'm just going to break it apart the same way that we did to fill in between the other elements in the repeating pattern. Let's start with adding those guides. Lock those guides. Right, I'm going to leave one unedited version of this and just turn that off. And I'm going to take these two duplicates and I'm going to again shift and drag so that left edge is center aligned, and then Command T and then shift and drag so the right edge is center aligned. And then we're going to look at it. I'm going to do Command colon, semicolon, just to see what that looks like. So this would be, where this pattern would repeat along the sort of horizontal repeat, and you can see that it, it doesn't repeat. It's not seamless at all. It's, there's a very clear line there. So what you can do is, either on this layer or on another layer. Sometimes I even just go ahead and Command E to merge those two. You can see, that's the unedited version, where that's the center of the piece. This is the merged split version. And, the simplest thing to do, I'm going to make another duplicate. Simplest thing to do would just be to sort of erase in here. Maybe use a brush tool that looks sort of naturalistic. So most brush tools can be turned into erasers if you hit the tilde key. And then I get an eraser with the sort of properties of a paintbrush. And now it's starting to really blend together. We're going all the way to the edge because we have to do this along the other axis next. Okay. There's a little bit of a seam line there, but for the sake of this demo, I'm not going to be too obsessive about it. So then I'm going to make sure I'm going to reduplicate that unedited layer, and just for the sake of having all my working layers, duplicate this as well and turn it off, and then select, shift select those two, Command E, and now I have, this. So one of the issues that happens as you're sort of moving these layers around is that you wind up with this overhang, and if you're not careful or you forget about it, it could mess up your alignment as you're trying to, splice this and move it around. So I just go ahead and hit the crop tool and then just return twice, and that crops it to the borders of the canvas. Very nice and easy. Turn on my guides again, and again I'm going to just duplicate that, duplicate it again. So now I have that version. I'm going to leave the unedited version on again. Turn on these two. And now I'm going to move, shift, drag the bottom edge to the center, top edge to the center. And again, we've got our seam line. Go ahead and merge those, Command E, brush tool, and again go in, turn it into an eraser by holding the tilde key the whole time I'm doing this. So I'm probably going to wind up with a little bit of an error right in these corners where I've gone up to the edge. And that's fine because you may just have to do another round of splitting down the center. But anyway, edit, define pattern. What size is this? It is, 15 by 10. This is going to be big enough because it's 800 DPI. Okay. So there's no seam lines that are especially visible. There might be some little tiny flaws in there, but you can choose just how obsessive you are. If this is going to be used at a fairly small scale, it's okay to not be 100% perfect. If it's going to be used large scale, like for wallpaper, you really need to make sure there's nothing wrong with it. It does get a little bit, like you get some optical grids happening because of, especially dark spots in the texture and light spots. You can go back in and one thing I'll sometimes do is overlay this original pattern. You can actually, just apply some, layer modifications and just kind of erase out the edges. Because those edges won't repeat. It's a little less obvious, but it's still there. This is the kind of thing you can overlay a few different textures to make things appear more random or smooth, or just keep working at it or figure out what works for you.